Dude, if you're on a budget, just build this thing. All in, we're at like $650. Now first, we need to start with the combo that makes all these budget builds possible, and that's the processor, RAM, motherboard bundles from Newegg. You get the Ryzen 5 5500, B550 with Wi-Fi, and 16 gigs of DDR4. Now these things bounce around in price quite a bit. At the time of writing this, they're going for about $260, but I've seen them as low as $180, and I paid $220 for my set. The Ryzen 5 5500 is the cheapest new CPU I would recommend in 2026. I've done a bit of testing on these CPUs now, and they always become the bottleneck as soon as you go above an RTX 5060. But for the price, they're hard to beat. These things have gone up in price a little bit, but you can still find them between $80 and $100 if you're just picking it up by itself. Another great thing about buying this CPU new is it comes with a stock Wraith cooler, which is plenty for the CPU, and it definitely saves us some money. The awesome thing about these coolers too is you can paint the shroud to match whatever theme you want to go for, and that's exactly what I did. I planned to go for a yellow and black theme, so I painted the cooler as close to canary yellow as I could. I just picked up some basic Rust-Oleum spray paint and did super light coats. Set a 15-minute timer and just repeated this process for a few hours. It ended up turning out really good. Now the motherboard. If it wasn't for this bundled deal, I would have just been looking for the cheapest B450 or B550 that would support a Ryzen 5000 series. But instead we end up with this thing, a super clean Gigabyte B550 Gaming X Wi-Fi. This exact board goes for about $90 to $100, but you could find some cheaper ones for around $70 without Wi-Fi. Just another reason this bundle is so good. And next is the RAM. You can pick up some really cheap kits for around $100, but a decent kit will go for around $120 to $130 for 16 gigs, 3200 mega transfers. So if you bought everything separately at the time of writing this, June 16th, 2026, it'd cost you $310. But similar bundles are selling right now for $260. Because mine was $220, I basically paid $73 for each of these parts, which is really good right now. Okay, since we're going all new and full budget, we had to make some sacrifices and went with a 500 gig NVMe SSD that I paid $83 for. If you want some actual advice and my true recommendation, just go 1 terabyte here. As you go up, they become cheaper in price per gigabyte. You can find 1 terabyte NVMEs for $130 to $140 new, and you can find 2 terabytes for $200. 500 gigs just isn't enough. After Windows installation, you can maybe throw a couple games on there before it's full, and you never want to completely fill up an NVMe SSD. But if you can't swing it, then you can't swing it. And next up is the case. This is the all-new Okinos Aqua Uno. They just released this all-new budget lineup with some really fun colors. They have a black and red, a black and white, a black and yellow, which is the one I'm building in today, and a few other variants. They're micro ATX cases that come with 3 pre-installed fans. They're between $45 and $50, but they're also not without drawbacks. It doesn't support radiators, you can't mount fans to the bottom, so you're kind of stuck running a negative air pressure with 3 pre-installed fans running exhaust, and no mounting places on the bottom for fans. Although if you're building a budget PC, then you're probably fine. I was definitely not worried about temperatures with the build I was putting it in. Next is a power supply. Definitely need a disclaimer here, because the intent was just to spend $40, $50 on a cheaper power supply, something like an Apivia or ASRock Pro 650. However, the Corsair had a deal on these Revival Series Corsair ARM 850Es, which is a monstrous overkill. I was able to order 2 of them, pay tax and shipping, and the total cost was $76, under $40 a piece. And well, I already had a couple, and that's why I use this power supply. Definitely would never need this good of a power supply unless you plan on upgrading literally everything else. I also decided to go with some cable extensions. I was looking for black and yellow, but the best I could find were these black and gold ones. They don't match as nice as I would like, but I still think they help bring the color scheme together, better than just black cables. But completely optional, I paid $20 for these. And now the GPU. I actually went with one I've never used before. This is the Intel Arc B570. And with how awful prices are right now, this seemed like one of the better options. The goal was to go new, obviously, and stay on budget. 5060s are typically what I recommend on budget builds, but they're going for $340 to $360. The B580s are going for $300 plus, and the 5050s are going for $300. And never trying the B570, I went with it at $260. If you wanted to go used, you could definitely get a lot better price to performance, but newer options are pretty limited. This thing really isn't bad though, and it has 10 gigs of VRAM. Total build costs were at $647, not including the can of spray paint and cable extensions. Honestly, not bad. I really like the look of the case, and it's a really good price. Some negatives I have about it though are the fans. I really don't like that they're not using your typical connectors, and it kind of forces you to use SATA power for them, and that we don't have places to mount intake fans at the bottom. And the USB-C port on the case ties into the USB header, so it gets downgraded. But I totally get not having all the bells and whistles with a $45 case. And I love that we have some more color options on the market. All right, let's see if this thing is even worth building in the first place. One of my kids is super into Subnautica 2, so I decided to see how well that runs. And it's not bad. I'm not familiar with Intel's GPU, but it looks like we're utilizing both the CPU and GPU pretty well. This is 1080p, medium settings with TSR set to quality. The 1% lows are feeling kind of noticeable, so I messed around with setting TSR to balance in low settings. Went from 60 FPS to 75 to 80, but increased the 1% lows, which feels quite a bit better. Next up, Rust. 1080p, high settings, we're actually getting some decent frames around 100, and our 1% lows are still around 60 FPS. Next up, Cyberpunk. I honestly didn't know what to expect, so I just full sent it on default settings, which was ray tracing set to low, frame gen off, high settings 1080p, and it did surprisingly well. It got an average FPS of 95. It did way better than I was expecting. Next up, Fortnite 1080p performance mode. This thing ran like a champ. Like most PCs do, it's getting around 200 FPS. And for our 3D Mark Time Spy score, we got 11,308. And there we have it. It looks and performs great. We're at $647 for the PC, $20 for the cable extensions, and $7 for the spray paint. And a special thanks for Okinos for sending it out.